Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everyone. You're tuned into the Morning Woodward Show right here on the Woodward Sports Network, featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. Good morning. Happy Thursday. We got Thursday Night Football tonight. That's exciting. Boys, good morning.
Good morning, Kennedy.
Oh, my God.
All right. We got
Jeff is choking. So.
Yep,
just
okay.
choked real quick.
Yep. We're doing awesome. But someone is doing awesome. Mel Tucker has quite the extension coming his way. If all goes well, he will become the highest paid coach in the Big Ten. MSU is preparing a historic $95 million 10-year contract extension for Mel Tucker to remain with the Spartans. They do not want to let this guy go. Jeff, give me your thoughts on this extension.
Yeah, rightfully so. And this obviously comes, they've been trying to get this done along with the LSU rumors of him going to LSU, and LSU really looking for their head coach. Tucker went from being the fourth highest paid Big Ten coach, 13th nationally. Now he moves to only behind Nick Saban, and he's the highest paid Big Ten coach in front of now James Franklin, which we talk about how much of a goofball James Franklin is. I'm happy for Mel Tucker, though. This is a big, big win for Michigan State. And similarly to yesterday when we talked about how big of a win it was for Michigan to extend Juwan Howard, like this deal had to get done. And now they got him for, 10 years, long-term deal. And you've seen what he's done in 2 years, beat Michigan twice, 2-0, and now one loss on the season. Deservingly so. And just moving on to, if we look at this in a big picture sense, among other head coaches, we can compare this to other coaches in the NBA. I think Greg Popovich is making 11. Mike Tomlin in the NFL is making 8. His contract's amongst the highest paid in general, not just college sports, all sports in general. So happy for Mel Tucker and Michigan State. This is big for them because now you lock up a guy who, leaving Colorado, people are assuming, and we talked about this weeks ago, what are the chances he leaves to LSU? And to be honest, I didn't think they were very high considering LSU is a pressure cooker. What coach would want to go to a university where even if you win a national championship, you have a chance to get relieved, like Orgeron did? That's not a desiring situation for any head coach, especially one who just left his first head coaching job at Colorado, and now he has a real program he can build and continue to add to his assistants. His assistant salary pool increased dramatically. This is big for him and what they want to do at Michigan State. So deservingly so. I know Inside the Locker Room talked about it and really broke the news, so credit to them here at Woodward Sports Network. But just in general, this is a big win for Michigan State, and now you have your guy locked down. This is, he's going to be around a while, and this is, you could argue it's bad news for Jim Harbaugh at the same time because this guy's going to be in the Big Ten, and right now he probably, we talk about Ryan Day and how he is the best coach in the Big Ten, but it's close. And Mel Tucker eventually might surpass him, but how he's doing so far, only 2 years into a total rebuild. Most of these guys are transfers and are his own recruits. So credit to him, and I think Michigan State nailed it right on the head.
Michigan, this isn't just about Mel Tucker or locking him up for a long-term commitment. When we talked about the LSU job and did it hold weight, I think any coach acknowledges, oh wow, the LSU job is open. It's a top job in the country. It's really a tier 1 school. And really the argument against it, or at least at the time a few weeks ago when we discussed this, was, all right, Mel Tucker, if you decide to leave, that is your third job in less than 3 years. You clearly aren't a guy that I can build a program around. I didn't think that was going to fit Mel Tucker's narrative, so I dismissed any chance of him going to LSU. But moving forward, Michigan State are putting themselves at the big boy table. Mm-hmm. They really are. Mel Tucker has done, we can all agree, a phenomenal job of turning around a Michigan State program that a few years ago couldn't win 2, 3, 4 games, and now they're sitting pretty at 9-1, started the season 7-0. That's a big ask. That is very telling, if you ask me, at least. They're trying to be a Michigan. They're trying to be an Ohio State. They're trying to be Clemson, Bama, LSU, USC, Oklahoma. They're trying to become a top program in the country. And that's not a knock on Michigan State. There's only a handful of them. And it's very difficult to become one of those upper echelon programs. And you can ask me, well, Adam, how do you consider Michigan a powerhouse brand? But they have had zero success on the field realistically since 1997. Well, their fan base is one of, if not the largest in the country. They are worldwide. No, well, they're known worldwide. It's a brand that you can't argue with. And that's where Michigan State is right now. We're never going to be Michigan if we continue to go along about our business in this fashion. And of course, the two big boosters at Michigan State sit down with the board and they make a commitment. We want to take our program to the next level. How do we do that? We put big money on the table for a head coach. We show not only the kids and the future prospects and kids that are going to come into the program years from now. No. We're not just showing them our intent. We're showing other coaches, other programs, hey, this isn't just going to be the Michigan State that can upset you every other year, every 2, 3, 4 years. This isn't the Michigan State that'll win 2 Big Ten championships over a 12, 14, 15-year period. No. We plan on being the Michigan State that is in the Big Ten title game 3 out of every 6, 7 years. We plan on being relevant every year. We plan on winning it some years. We plan on coming up short other years. But we're going to be in the conversation like Georgia has been, like Alabama has been for such a long time. Because, on the field success, Michigan State have had much more than Michigan. But what are they lacking? That brand impact. And how do you really overcome that? You look at Oregon. Oregon was never some sought-after school, huge program. No, but they made a commitment to facilities, their jerseys. Everybody talked about the Oregon jerseys early on when they first renovated everything. You were like, I just want to go to Oregon and play in their jerseys. They had the best jerseys. And to this day, you could probably argue they have some of the coolest alternates and jerseys in the country. And that's a big factor of how they recruit their players. Now Michigan State is attempting to take that leap. Will they be successful? It's a difficult thing to do. When you're trying to beat Alabama, Michigan, LSU, USC. USC has been an irrelevant program since Pete Carroll left. And they are still a top recruiting station. Year in and year out. It doesn't matter if Jeff is coaching the team or if Bob over there on that corner of Woodward is. It doesn't matter. That's a program. Miami has been irrelevant since the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. But it's the U. What's Michigan State's brand? They're going to try and figure it out and build it. And I think that is very, very, very important. Not only for the Big Ten, but for Michigan and Ohio State. I think this is a great thing. You don't want just Penn State and your Iowas, your Wisconsin. No. Michigan State are deserving of becoming this type of program. They've earned it on and off the field. And now it's their turn. I always tell you guys, stop with the little brother nonsense. Here you go. Now you really need to stop. Because, quote-unquote, little brother will be a top destination for head coaches well past Mel Tucker. And if he's there for 10 years, don't get me wrong, that is amazing. And that means he's doing a hell of a job. But even if Mel Tucker doesn't work out in year 5, but he's been to multiple college football playoffs, he's won a few Big Tens. Well, the program is set. Let's bring in the guy that can deliver. Michigan State are positioning themselves to become a nationally acclaimed, recognizable program. And I think that more than anything shows their intention moving forward. They're not just going to be okay with having a 9-win season right now. Maybe they finish 9-3, 10-2. Maybe they win out. They go 11-1. Who knows? But the point is, okay, we're happy we're in this position, but we want to be in this position every year or every other year at bare minimum. We want to be an 8, 9, 10-win program for 10, 15 years. We want to win multiple Big Ten titles. We want to win a natty. We want to make the college football playoff multiple times. That's how you become a Tier 1 program, a college, one of those Clemsons, your Bamas, your LSUs, your Georgias. That's how you do it. And who else than a guy with SEC roots, a guy who can recruit just as good as anybody in the country can right now, a guy that dominated the transfer portal this past offseason, and look at it paying off now.
And I wonder
Michigan State are in a great position.
I wonder what this does for Jim Harbaugh, especially like recruiting-wise. I mean, you got a guy who took a bunch of transfers and look what he's doing, beat Michigan. It looks like the more ideal situation for anybody, especially you're the second highest paid collegiate head coach in football behind Nick Saban. Nick Saban. So there's obviously expectations that go with that, and I think Mel Tucker will live up to him, but there's pressure there. And the next couple of years, we'll see. Because it was a great second year. He had a very great year this year. Beat Michigan, now he's 2-0. Like, you can go on and on. But it's what they build off of, and I think they can do it. It just depends how hard Mel Tucker, and I think he's perfect for the transfer portal. He's perfect for recruiting. I mean, that's a guy you want to go play for. So in all those aspects, he'll be fine. But it's interesting. Second most highest paid
well, Mel
coach
Tucker, again,
behind Nick Saban.
I don't think the expectations are overwhelming.
But what are expectations?
He came in. He understood it was a rebuild.
Yeah, we all did.
And he has over-delivered in year 2. And again, this isn't a Michigan fan base. We're talking about Michigan State, who have recently won a Big Ten championship, who have made a college football playoff appearance. The results speak for themselves. This isn't just a result-based move. This isn't, we want to be winning only 9, 10, 11 games every... No. That is part of it. But we want to set ourselves up that in 20 years, no matter the outcomes, we are still revered as a top program. Why? Because Michigan haven't won a damn thing of true value since the early 2000s with the Big Ten championship. It's been almost 20 years. They still hold cachet. The maize and blue.
Right.
The big house.
The 10-win seasons.
This is what you're trying to... this is what you're trying to go towards if you're Michigan State. And we're going to have Brandon Brown on a little later on in the show. We're going to ask him about Jim Harbaugh, Michigan, how the season's going, expectations against Maryland, and then, of course, Ohio State. But what we also are going to ask him is, how does this affect Jim Harbaugh and Michigan moving forward? Does that put pressure on them? And if it does, in what capacity? And if it doesn't, well, then are you Michigan at risk of falling behind Michigan State? I think that's a real interesting takeaway from all of the news. But Kennedy, we got to head to break.
We do have to head to break. When we come back, we will talk about the Pistons' win from last night. So make sure you stick around for that. But first, our friends right here, up there, Northwestern Tech.
Yeah, Northwestern Tech, great opportunity for you, anybody you know, to start a new career in an industry that is always essential. It's the heating and cooling industry. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With mortgage interest rates unbelievably low, the stakes to find your new home have never been higher. And that's why Hall Financial's exclusive realtor network allows us to connect you with a top-rated realtor in your area, making sure you take on the housing market and win. Hall Financial has earned over 4,000 five-star reviews because of our technology and our commitment to closing your loan fast. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. All right, the Pistons, they had a very hard-fought win last night, taking the dub over the Pacers 97-89. Jeremy Grant with 19 points, Corey Joseph with his season-high 18 points, Cade Cunningham 16 points, Sadiq Bey with 15 points, and the Pistons were able to force 11 turnovers in the first and scored 17 points off of Pacers' miscues, while they forced 7 more turnovers in the second half and ended up scoring 20 points off of Indiana errors. So a good game for the Pistons, Jeff, but I want your thoughts on it.
Well, for the Pistons this year, they've been the worst shooting efficiency-wise team in the entire NBA in terms of free throws, three-point shooting, and just shooting from the field goal and just from the mid-range or layup. I mean, they're the worst team in the entire NBA, and they face a team in Indiana that shot worse than they do. And you know what? It worked out. 97-89, not a pretty win, obviously. But at the end of the day, they played tremendous defense, and that's what we know the Pistons to be. I mean, this is kind of the saying with all Detroit teams, they play hard. And the Detroit Pistons really do play hard. I mean, defensively, I think they played a great game against the Pacers. And the Pacers already have been in a slump offensively coming into this game, so it doesn't surprise me that they struggled. It's just the Pistons capitalized on it. And obviously, Cade Cunningham had another fantastic game. I mean, shooting from the field-wise, not necessarily, but his impact was there. You could see it defensively, both sides of the ball. Cade Cunningham, to me, I mean, you look at the Rookie of the Year rankings, and they have Evan Mobley as number 1. And if you look at all the redrafts, they have the Pistons taking Evan Mobley. Those people are idiots. Cade Cunningham is the best player in this draft by far. Number 1 overall pick. He's the best complete player. The only thing, a knock on Cade right now, is he's not shooting very efficiently, but the kid's missed training camp. He's missed a handful of games already with an ankle injury. He's going to get better. So I'm not worried about the shooting from the field. It's what do you look like on the floor if you're not shooting well? And Jalen Green, if he's not shooting well, doesn't have much of an impact. And it's the complete opposite with Cade. His ability to run the offense, he stays aggressive, hits nearly 90% of his free throws, which is absolutely ridiculous as a rookie. And you could tell he's the man. He comes into this team. You have a guy in Jeremy Grant who last year was really the only guy making shots on this team. Obviously, he had rookies, but Jeremy Grant averaged 24 points a game. This year, Cade's taking more shots than him, deservingly so. As a rookie, he looks like a seasoned vet. I mean, it is what it is. You watched last night or the nights before. He gets better as the game goes on. He gets even better in the fourth quarter down the stretch, which the Pistons don't have a closer. So it's a spot-on hit for them to have this guy on their team. Helps them close, helps them make plays down the stretch. It keeps their team up in terms of being a leader. Like, this guy has it all. And defensively, you saw it. Made some plays. Guys driving to the basket. He'd strip them clean. Like, that's just the instincts he has for the basketball. And we've talked about this before the draft. I've talked to Stick. I've talked to multiple people, and we've all mutually agreed, or at least I've vocalized on this show, that Cade Cunningham, no doubt, best two-way player in this draft. In terms of what he can do offensively, Evan Mobley, of course, beast in the paint. Scotty Barnes, 6'9", can guard all 5 positions. But in terms of all-around game, being able to space the floor, it's Cade Cunningham to me. And, it's clear as day. The Pistons got their pick right. And this guy right now, I mean, the Pistons haven't gone 3-2 during a 5-game stretch since April. And only did it twice last season. Detroit didn't get win 4 until Game 17 last year. Didn't get 4 wins until Game 17 last year. That's credit to James Edwards on Twitter. It's absolutely astonishing what this guy's been able to do. Not really adding anybody, just adding Cade Cunningham, and look how different the team looks. I mean, Jeremy Grant's shot's gone down, which we've expected. He's not your number 1 option. He's never going to be. He's going to be your 3rd option on a good team. Now you have Cade Cunningham, who's going to be your number 1 option, and they look good. They're 4-10. They're not very good record-wise, but in terms of just Cade individually, I'm happy with his progression. Sadiq's been shooting the lights out as of late, so as long as he stays aggressive and shoots the way he's been shooting, things will work out. I want to see more. Killian Hayes didn't play a whole lot in the fourth quarter, but he was playing. Only took 2 shots, 2 for 2, which, I mean, I talk about this all the time, and I sound like a broken record. I need Killian to be more aggressive. He's too talented. If you go 2 for 2, take 3 more shots. I mean, take 2 more shots. It's not really about if you're a starting point guard in this league, You can't go 2 for 2. Like, that's not. I get the playmaking; it's there. The defense for Killian, he's a great 2-way, probably the best defender on the Pistons. I mean, besides you got the Isaiah Stewarts of the world, but he's a great defender. But I don't know if I just want a great defender. I mean, he's got so much more potential. I'm asking more out of Killian, but in terms of Cade, man, I'm excited to see how this kid develops. I think he could be a 20-point scorer year 2. 20-point scorer, because he has the tools. He just needs to. The efficiency's not there. He's averaging 14 points on bad efficiency. Makes a couple more of those shots. He's closer to 20 points. So book it. Next year, he's averaging 20 points at least a game.
Look, Cade is struggling like any other rookie does. In the beginning, they're trying to find their game, but I think the positive you can take away is that he doesn't shy away. 1, in big moments, but 2, he doesn't let his shot dictate how he's going to perform. And I think you nailed that right on the head. Okay, I'm 1 for 8 from 3. That's fine. I'm still going to get to the paint.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to rebound. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to play some defense. And I'm going to be a playmaker for my team. And Cade Cunningham reminds me a lot of Luka, year one. A lot of three-point attempts, unnecessary. You're not a polished three-point shooter. You're settling for way too many threes. Cade Cunningham shouldn't be taking 8 threes is where I'm getting at with this.
I agree with you.
He shouldn't be.
He's too talented.
He's too talented, too gifted. He can get to the paint essentially whenever he wants, and he has one of two outcomes. He takes a high percentage shot, or he dishes it out for a potential assist. It's that simple. And I don't want to see 8 threes a game from Cade. I see this a lot with rookies in the last few years. They just come out and they think they can come into the league and light it up like Trey, like Steph. And it's just, no, these guys take 10, 12 threes a game, but they're making 4, 5, 6 of them. Not going 1 of 8, 1 of 9, 2 of 10. That's not good basketball. Mm-hmm. And look, the record I think is irrelevant for the Pistons. They started off, 1-9?
Yeah. They were
1-9, but they played some damn good teams, all playoff teams, I want to say, outside of Orlando, to start the season. So they lost the games they probably should have lost. You move on. You got a revamped Chicago Bulls team. They look good. You lose 2 games to them. I'm not going to kill you for it. And now you've seen them. They've won 3 out of their last 5. And it's like, oh, well, that's a pleasant surprise. Killian Hayes is disappointing, though.
Yeah, I know, and I
don't know what kind of player he is.
He did suffer the injury. I want to make that clear in the second half. But even before that, we're talking about just in general.
All the sample data I have right now, and again, you got to give him time. It's the NBA. Players usually take a little longer to blossom than most sports. But what am I getting from Killian on my team 2-3 years from now? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What does he bring to the court? Is he a Tony Parker-esque kind of point guard who can play defense, get me a bucket when I need it, but is really the facilitator, the controller of the offense? I don't think that's Killian Hayes. Is he a Kyle Lowry hybrid for Dwayne Casey? I don't know. I just don't know what Killian Hayes is. And I think that's just my concern more than anything else is, one night I'll get 8 assists, and the other I'll get 0, and then the next night I'll get 4, and then the next night I'll get 0 points, and the next night I'll get 12, and then I'll get 8, and then I'll get 12, and then I'll get 0, and then I'll get 2, and then I'll get 0. Like, what are you? How does your game translate on the court? Jeremy Grant last night made another audition for why he should be traded from this team. I'm done talking about him. He's a number 3 on a good team at best. You don't need him taking more shots than Cade Cunningham or Saddiq Bey. Saddiq Bey is your number 2. That's a fact. Cade's your 1. Jeremy Grant is acting as a 1, but he's really a number 3. So that team dynamic will evolve over time. I don't expect him to be here longer, but Killian Hayes, I'm concerned because I just don't know how he translates later on. I just want to know, I just want to know how he impacts the game 12, 18, 20 months from now. And hopefully he develops into one of the better point guard defenders in the NBA. Mm-hmm. Hopefully he turns into a guy that, even if he only gives you 4 or 5 points a game, he's giving you 6, 7, 8 assists consistently a night. He's impacting the game in some capacity. 1.5, 2 steals a game. Something other than scratching my head like, God, he just had a great game. Now he's back to square one. And now he's injured again. And he was injured last year. Wait and see on Killian. It's a long season, but this is... I just want to see where he's going. It's not so much calling him what he is. I don't know what he is yet.
Yeah, no one's saying he's a bust. Yeah, I want to get that clear. Like, we're not sitting up here crapping on the guy. It's just a matter of...
I just want to know what he is to this team 2 years from now. I know what Cade is. That's the future star, the future closer.
Right.
I know what Saddiq Bey is. He's the guy that needs to get me 22 a night, essentially. Anywhere from 18 to 22. That's Saddiq Bey. Killian Hayes, how does he translate? I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. It'll be interesting to find out. But I think that's really the question mark most Pistons fans will take away is, what does Killian Hayes look like 12, 16, 18, 20 months from now? Is he a polished defender, two-way player, can get me 6, 8 a night, but really gets me 7, 8 assists, and that's really where his key contributions are? Okay, cool. He's a good number 3 then. But is he a 1? I don't think so. Is he a 2? Maybe that's his ceiling? Can he develop into that? I don't know yet. We have to wait and see. He's at, how many games has he played? 58?
It's about 60.
57?
Yeah, yep.
So you need time with Killian, but I would like to see more of how he translates in the future.
Yeah, because the defense is there. I mean, he's a gifted defender. Long, 6'5", has a knack for getting steals. So that's already a given. He's a great defender. And at the end of the day, if he becomes, if we're upset with what he becomes into a player, at least we can say he's a great defender, great perimeter defender. But at the same time, I know you can get more out of Killian. He's too talented. So I'm hard on him because he had Toronto played a great game. Comes out the next night against Sacramento and drops a donut. Like that's the problem I have. And I get he's young. That's going to happen. But I don't know. It's just Killian being passive. And the more games he plays, he's going to learn to be less passive. He's got to be a little more aggressive. I get you want to play make all the time, but if you're going up to the rim and wide open layup.
I don't think he gets clear coaching. I think that's another factor. Every night I watch the Pistons, it's something different. And that's not a good thing. Like, what's the identity of this basketball team? I kind of gave you already two pieces of it. Cade's the star, future star, and the closer. Sadiq Bey is kind of your hybrid Klay Thompson. Hopefully he can develop into a better defender. But he can be that bucket guy every night that you can rely on to get you 18 to 22. Okay, cool. I'm set there. And then I have a ton of question marks after that. So I think that's my takeaway from last night's game is need a lot more time to judge Killian Hayes. I can't dispute that. But Dwayne Casey, what exactly is the identity of this basketball team? And we'll probably find out by January, February. I think a lot of things will be more clear by then. But right now, I think that's all you can say about the Pistons. Kennedy?
All right, you guys, when we come back, we're going to talk some NFL. We're going to take a look at the NFC, take a look at the Lions, what everybody's standings are, and what it means for them. But first, we need to hear from our friends at MyBookie.
All right, people, MyBookie, you know where it's at. NHL season is in full gear. And you know how I feel about the overbet at 5.5. Whenever I see it, I take it. Odds are it hits. It's been hitting about 70% of the time this year so far. It's had a bad stretch for me lately. Alex Westphal giving me the look because I always tell him to bet on it. All right, I know. I'm sorry. But when it hits big, and you got to love it. You got to accept it. Bet from anywhere, anytime using MyBookie. They'll match you dollar for dollar when you sign up today using code Woodward. You put in $100, they'll give you $100. You put in $200, they'll give you $200. And, of course, please, if you have a gambling problem, address it with yourself. Call the Gambling Problem Hotline at 1-800-270-7117.
Tony is a third-generation logger that has a simple, practical approach to life and work. That's why his Coast DX342 knife is perfect for him. The stainless steel blade is rust-resistant and made for all-weather use. And the double roll-lock safety ensures that it will never inadvertently close when he doesn't want it to. That's why Coast is trusted tough.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Welcome back, everyone. So Jeff actually brought to our attention that the NFC isn't truly that competitive this year, and that any team from the NFC kind of at this point has a chance at least at a wild card, except for the Lions. With that said, Jeff, how much worse does this make the Lions look, knowing that all these other teams are like one win out?
Well, it definitely doesn't help a Lions fan because you're sitting here looking at the NFC, and it makes sense. I mean, I'm not sitting here and saying I'm going to disagree with the fact that they're that bad. Could they have gotten one win at some point in the season? Possibly. I mean, we've set up here, they had their chances. They had the Ravens. They had the Vikings. There was opportunities, but right now, if you look at the bottom of the NFC, the Chicago Bears right now are right above the Lions. They're really the second to last team in the NFC, 3-6. You got the Seattle Seahawks at 3-6, and then you got New York and Washington at 3-6, and then you got like 5 teams with 4 wins, including the 49ers and the Minnesota Vikings, and with the Eagles and Falcons and Carolina at 5 wins. So it is a very tight race to a wild card spot. A lot of these teams are basically one game away from making any noise, so it's very competitive. The Lions, though. I mean, what were your expectations? That's really the truth. Are you surprised as a Lions fan? Are you the guys on Lions Twitter that talked about this team going 10-7 in a playoff win? Are you those guys that talked about 8-9 or whatever the case may be? That's the people that are probably scratching their heads right now. Me and Adam set up here said 5 wins. This head scratching it is kind of there. I mean, 5 wins at the end of the season, and now you're 8-1. With all the injuries, it makes sense. Like, what do you expect? These guys are working with chicken, you know what, and you want them to make chicken soup. It's not going to happen. But there was opportunities, definitely. I mean, they had the Eagles game. I set up here and thought they'd be their first win. The Bears game, I thought that'd be their even earlier in the season their first win. Both those games, I was very wrong. So at this point, the Lions shouldn't be favored in any game they play. And that's not an insult. That's just the fact. I mean, even if you look at the AFC, the worst team in the AFC, or the 3 worst teams, are really the only other teams that are going to be contending the Lions for the number 1 overall pick. And you have the Jets, 2-7, the Jaguars, 2-7, and then the Texans, really the only team that could beat out the Lions for the number 1 overall pick. We sat up here and said they're just as bad. They're 1-8. But the Lions, only team without a win, that is not a good thing. I mean, for me to sit up here and say, oh, it's fine, they're going to be bad. I mean, they're the only team in the NFL without a win, and now they're one of the only teams without a tie. Them and the Pittsburgh Steelers, the only team. So it's an odd season. But the positive part is they don't have a losing streak and they don't have a winning streak. So you know what? If you're a Lions fan, you want to take one thing out of it, I guess take that.
I hate you. No,
but,
no, absolutely
but that's it.
not.
No, the Lions, no one should be upset. They're 0-8. They're last in the NFC. It's just the facts. Tell me right now, if anybody wants to argue with me, a team they could be better than, I'm all ears. But the Bears 3-6. You saw what happened
in the NFC.
Yeah, in the NFC.
Oh no, they're the worst team in football.
So it makes sense
Record-wise.
Yeah,
But,
so I'm not surprised.
I mean, surprised. Okay, what is the question? Jeff threw me off completely. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not following. Are we supposed to be upset that the final wild card spot now is a 5-5 record?
Does this make Dan and the Lions look even worse? They're the only team winless, and they're the worst team by far in the NFC.
By far.
And every team in the NFC is 1 win from a wild card spot.
I mean,
so how does that make the franchise look?
If I'm objective, no, I don't think it makes them look bad because they had the 6th hardest schedule.
Yeah.
Going into the year, 4th based on win totals last year. And I tried to warn you and tell you before the season started that they would struggle. And 3 to 4 wins was likely the scenario, and you were lucky if you got 5. So, no, I don't think they should be disappointed. The Lions are just not a good football team. They're not well coached. They are at the top of the league in a bad way in terms of penalties committed per game and total yards forced from penalties. They have no special teams game. Their defense has actually been a bright side of this team, but unfortunately the offense is anemic, and it looks like there's 11 handicap players playing for the Detroit Lions on offense.
And you have the worst quarterback,
and
arguably.
that is a Detroit Lions offense that features, let's be honest, Jared Goff. I'd say an average quarterback in the league.
But mention the wide receiver core.
Wait, T.J. Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift, when healthy Jamal Williams, when healthy Jamar Jefferson. So you have depth at running back. But you look at the wide receiving core, it's, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, not so good. But what are the Jets working with? What are the Texans working with? What are even the Bears, the Giants, guys, look. Should the Lions have more wins than what they have right now? I don't even know if that's even fair to say. All I do know is it's a bad football team. It's not being coached. Hey, guys, again, let's go back to the basics. What is the essential quality of a head coach? Improving his team. In some aspect. Getting them to play better than what they actually are. That's what good coaches do. If anybody is coaching the New England Patriots last season, that's a 1-15 football team. 2-14 at best. They're 6-4 right now. They got some players back who sat out because of COVID. They spent big in free agency on tight ends. They addressed the offensive line. Addressed the secondary. Made sure they had some edge rushers. And they got a quarterback. And what do you know? They're 6-4. You think the Patriots, coached by, let's say, a Dan Campbell, Robert Saleh even, Urban Meyer, you think they're 6-4 right now? Absolutely not. So as a coach, your responsibility, yes, is to coach the team and make but you are supposed to get your team to play at a higher level week in and week out. And right now that's not happening in Detroit. And is the talent awful? Absolutely. It really is. It's worse than I think a lot of people expected. But if I were to start an offense, or if I were to take an offense, if I had to decide between Jacksonville's offense, Detroit's, the Giants, let's say even Chicago's, it's not all that great. You want to take the bottom tier teams in the NFL and look at them, you're like, honestly, outside of Jacksonville, I kind of like Detroit's. Jacksonville has weapons. James Robinson, Trevor Lawrence, Laviska Shenault, Marvin Jones. Okay, I like that. Oh, the Jets have Ryan Griffin, washed up Corey Davis, washed up Jamison Crowder. Elijah Moore, but he's a rookie.
He's their best, yeah. A rookie's really their best wide
Who's
receiver.
really been their best wide receiver for 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Michael Carter, rookie running back. So you're going to tell me you take the Jets over the Lions, who have a premier tight end, a premier running back? Absolutely not. A premier offensive line? No. So how many excuses do you want to come up with? I'm not in the business of excuses. I'm in the business of telling the truth. I'm in the business of telling you what you need to hear. And what you need to hear is it unfortunate and disappointing that they're 0-8-1 at this point? Yeah, it's really laughable. They should have won a game by now. And they could have, multiple times. Mm-hmm. But you cling on to that as if, like, that's a good thing. It's not. So if they can't win the I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know what to tell you guys without hurting your feelings. So, Kennedy.
It's hurtful.
To take a look at this NFC list, yeah, the Panthers are 5-5 and they're in the final wild card spot, and the Saints are 5-4 just above them. But look, the Lions are in a position where they need to address in one off season, which has been done around the NFL, so I don't want to hear excuses. They need to get healthy, number one, first and foremost, especially at the offensive line. They need to address the wide receiver position. They need to address their secondary, and they need to address their defensive line in the offseason and the draft, and honestly, even at linebacker. That's what they need to overhaul this team, essentially, in the offseason. Mm-hmm. And I keep hearing 4 to 5, 6 years. Guys, I've been hearing that for 57 years. When are you just going to wake up and say, you know what? No. If you, and it's not a Dan Campbell thing, it's not a Brad Holmes thing. I just want you to look at your front office and your head coach in this capacity. I don't care who it is. Patricia, Caldwell, Schwartz, I don't care who it is. I want you to look at them all objectively the same and hold them accountable in this fashion. And if you can do that, Detroit, you'll be a lot happier. You'll say, okay, if you are as good as you say you are, you should be able to, year one, walk in, make the team look better. Not win more, look better. Check. Year two, revamp. Totally rehaul the team in the offseason. Address our positions of need. And we look better and we start winning a few more games in year two. And if you need a quarterback and you're able to solve that, well, my friend, your life becomes a whole lot easier once you have the quarterback. And Detroit, if you get the quarterback, well, then there's no excuses after that. And this should be a 2.5 to maybe 3 years at most in terms of turnaround. And if you think it takes longer, look around the league. It doesn't. It doesn't. How is it that Pittsburgh, who are drafting later on in the rounds, and Baltimore for all these years can sustain consistency, can win a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco? Question marks at quarterback. They still win 6, 7, 8, 9 games every year. And then they get Lamar Jackson and they turn it around. Oh, New England. Isn't that funny? They were one of the worst rosters in football. To this day, they still don't have a wide receiving core. And they're 6-4. Oh, but, you know, Adam, you are the devil for thinking that they can turn it around in 2 to 3 years. If your coach is as good as you say he is, if your front office is as good as we like them to be, well, then you smart people figure things out. It's that simple. I'm trying not to swear, so
I know.
Give me some credit, Kennedy.
I'll give you all the
But
credit.
No, seriously. If you are as good as advertised, you will figure it out. You guys want to ridicule Kyle Shanahan all the time. Shows up on Monday night in a must-win game of the season, beats the 7-2 Los Angeles Rams. It's a damn good win. They're only a game out of the wild card spot now. And I promise you, come January, if the 49ers are sneaking into the wild card, nobody's going to have fun playing them. It's a good defensive front, a good secondary, the best run game in the NFL likely outside of Cleveland. They've got pieces. That's a team you want to avoid. Smart people figure things out. Detroit, it's time you figure it out. And I'm not going to give you 4, 5, 6 years. I'm not. It's going to be 2.5 to 3 years. And if you can't prove it, I'm sorry. No. This is the NFL. This is the NFL. Figure it out. Address your talent needs. Stop complaining about your talent and go fix it. Start hitting more in the draft. How about that? Great start, Brad Holmes. You got Penei Sewell. That's a hit. That's a money shot. Great. Great start. Follow that up next year with a solid 2 first-round picks, and this is going to be a damn good football team by year 3. I'm telling you right now. If you just do what you're supposed to do, there's no reason this takes 4 to 6 years.
Well, can I give you a good example? The New York Jets, for their point differential, worse than the Lions. They've been getting absolutely blown off the floor in some of these games. Lost 26-0 to the Broncos. Lost 54-13 to the Patriots. 45-17 to the Bills. And they have 2 wins. And guess who those wins are against? The Titans and the Bengals. 2 very good teams. That's showing something. That's showing, listen, we have lows. They have a historically bad defense in New York for the Jets. And they still managed to beat 2 playoff
Well, again,
contending teams.
I think
there's a recipe for everything.
I think as a fan, you need to not look at win totals all the time. Win totals are deceiving. That's why people think Jim Caldwell was such a great coach. He wasn't. He was average. And his record was average. He peaked year 1 with a Jim Schwartz-built team. 11-5, choked away the division. Started 5-0 the next year, finished 7-9. And then went 9-7, 9-7. I want to say 15 of the 18 wins were fourth quarter comebacks.
And his record against winning teams weren't that good.
It was awful.
And look at the Jets.
4-23. Now the Jets, you can point to Robert Saleh and say, well, at least he's winning. I don't even look at that. I'm concerned in New York because Robert Saleh, you're a defensive guy. I need to see the defense improve.
But
to an extent, you know what I mean? That's what I'm expecting. When a head coach walks in, what are you good at? Improve us there, and we'll figure out the rest. Because I know, Robert Saleh, you need to get your franchise quarterback ready to play. Mm-hmm. I know, Dan Campbell, you still need a franchise quarterback. You still need wide receivers. You need to wait for the salary cap to get fixed. That way you can actually go out and get players. I understand that. But what are you doing to make the team better? And when the team isn't looking any better and it's looking anemic for 10 weeks now, it's like, same old. I need to see some level of improvement. I think the only improvement I'm getting is from the defense this year. And Aaron Glenn's doing a hell of a job. And I don't think it's being talked about in Detroit media enough. He is doing a hell of a job. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine what he can do with, let's say, an edge rusher, rookie edge rusher next year that you draft top of the draft. You take a secondary player in the 2nd and 1st round maybe, and then you get a linebacker in the 4th, 5th round, maybe even the 3rd, who knows. Regardless, I would love to see what Aaron Glenn can do with a healthy Jeff Okudah, Julian Okwara back. I would love to see a complete defense under Aaron Glenn. I think he's a hell of a coach. I have question marks with Anthony Lynn and Dan Campbell right now, and they got to figure it out. It's that simple. So, Kennedy, we got to go to break.
We do have to go to break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about Mel Tucker and what it means for the MSU program. So all of that and more coming up next. But first, the squad with the best defense.
Guardian Alarm. We talk about the Lions overperforming on defense. Well, Guardian Alarm always performs, and they get it. Guardian Alarm, a good defense on and off the field, helps you feel secure. Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe, all with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that let you check in on your home. You can control lights and temperatures, detect smoke or even carbon monoxide to keep your family safe. It will even let you lock and unlock doors. Call 800-STAY-OUT today. That's 800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm has been trusted for over 90 years at keeping all families safe.
Sports is giving you a chance to sit front row on Thanksgiving. All you have to do is survive our squid game. Nope, our turkey games. Listen every day to the Morning Woodward Show at 9 a.m. Big D Energy at noon. And the Bottom Line at 3 p.m. for your chance to qualify. The winner of turkey games will get tickets to the Thanksgiving Day Detroit game.
Hey, it's Thanksgiving. Shouldn't you be in Detroit losing a football game right now?
Plus a turkey. So if you think you can master our turkey games challenges, watch, listen, and win. Make sure you're following at Woodward Sports on all social media or go to woodwardsports.com for additional chances to qualify. May the best turkey win.
Welcome back, everyone. Later on in the show, we're going to have Brandon Brown on. We're going to talk to him a little bit more about this. But obviously, Mel Tucker getting that big old extension. What was it, 95 mil almost? Jeez
10 years.
Louise, 10 years. Whew. But we got to get into what this means for the Michigan program and Jim Harbaugh. So go ahead, Adam.
All right, so we talked earlier, Mel Tucker, and how Michigan State are trying to take that next step, right? They're trying to become one of the prestigious brands in football. And the way you do that is by putting money where your mouth is. Best facilities. The best of this, the best of that. That's what you're going for. And Michigan State can never just compete with Michigan on the field. They really needed to do this. And now it's got my head spinning, and really on the drive in, I was thinking to myself, Michigan just restructured Jim Harbaugh's deal based on the winning side of it, right? We need to win the games. We know we're Michigan. We're Michigan. We're Michigan. The big house, the maize and blue. Okay. Well, Michigan State are taking a very aggressive and serious step into potentially competing with you and Ohio State in the Big Ten on the most prestigious schools in the conference. And that is very interesting. How do people react to competition? How do people react to, there's somebody coming up on me? This is no longer a wide distance in terms of brands. In 2-3 years, if Michigan continue on the way they are, the gap could go from here in terms of brand to probably here. And then Michigan, you're not this illustrious, prestigious brand because, well, you're losing out on recruiting. You're losing out on sponsorship deals. Why? Because Michigan State is now generating all this revenue. Michigan State, I want to say, generates half the revenue Michigan does. And that tells you why Michigan is still the brand it is. But Michigan State will now work towards getting that kind of revenue, getting those types of recruiting classes, getting those national championships. And if you're Michigan now and you're Jim Harbaugh, you're probably having a 10-win season. But if you can beat Ohio State and Maryland this year, win the Big Ten title, and go on to Indianapolis, move to a college football playoff appearance, my goodness. That is a letter of intent. That is a statement. That is a bold statement that you can really conjure up. And I think this has to be the year for Michigan, if not any year. You have the top defensive line in the country. Ojabo, Hutchinson, the best pairing I've seen in maybe 10, 15 years. When are you ever going to things all fall into place, guys. We talk about destiny and narrative. This is all falling to shape up to be likely Ohio State barely squeaks out with a win against Michigan State, and they follow it up by losing to Michigan on the 27th. I think that's how this is shaping up to be. It could be totally wrong. But remember, Penn State was only down by 3 with possession against Ohio State in Columbus. Michigan State are going to feel like they can go there. They're going to play a close game. And that'll be the second close game realistically that Ohio State's played. And then they're going to walk in, but they're going to drop the ball against Michigan. I can really see that playing out this way. Having said that, you got to win, guys. Michigan, you got to win. Michigan State's coming for that brand power. Michigan will always be Michigan. You won't be dethroned. Don't worry. USC hasn't done anything relevant for 15, 20 years. Neither has Miami. You will still be relevant, but be very careful. You don't want to go another 10, 15 years not winning a Big Ten title. In the next 7, 8 years, you need to win 2 or 3 of them. And if you can't do that in the next 6, 7, 8 years, well, you're not going to like the outcome years from now. I'm telling you right now.
And what happens now? Mel Tucker, 2-0 against Harbaugh, and he loses this year to Ohio State. What happens now? You got a guy that 2-0 against Harbaugh. He's here for the next 10 years. Probably a better coach as of right now in terms of what he's doing with this program. What do you do with Jim Harbaugh? You just are you still on the who do you bring in if you fire Jim Harbaugh, or is Jim?
No, wait. Okay, follow me again. Did you say Mel Tucker losing to State?
No, I'm saying Jim Harbaugh.
Okay.
Mel Tucker's 2-0 against him. You know the record he has against Ohio State. This year, he may very well lose to both of them again. You have a guy, Mel Tucker, he's here for another 10 years. What does this mean for Jim Harbaugh? You lose to Ohio State. Are you still on the train of who do you bring in? Because I get Jim Harbaugh's still the brand of Michigan, but if he's losing to his rivals consistently, and now you lock up a guy in Mel Tucker for the next 10 years, what does this mean for Jim? Is my question.
What it means for Jim, I think, in my opinion, is that you really need to sit down with the AD and the board, and you guys need to have an honest conversation. Jim, do you really think you can do it? Do you really think you're ever going to be able to beat Ohio State, man? This was the year. You had them at home. You were 10-1. They weren't this Urban Meyer coach team. Yes, they have a stout wide receiving core. Yes, they have a dynamic offense. But, Jim, you had the pass rush to go against it. Jim, are you ever going to do it? And if you don't think so, or, we don't believe so. It's been 7 years, man. You're 0-6. It's going to be a really difficult conversation.
Makes it tough.
And then Michigan are going to have to look and say, okay, State are committed. They're going all in. And this isn't a move that affects State brand-wise in 5 years. This is an 8, 10, 12-year progression. You won't see the benefits of this Mel Tucker move for another 5, 6, 7, 8 years. It won't affect them next year, the year after, the year after. It's going to take time. This is a power move over time. And what you want to avoid as Michigan is you don't want to go winless during that power struggle. Why? Because if you're still not winning anything and Michigan State are now billing more, they're becoming more popular, they're recruiting better, they're winning Big Tens, and you're not, you're putting yourself in a risky, vulnerable situation. And I don't think the Michigan brand ever goes away.
Yeah.
But eventually you're going to have to deliver, Jim. And I think if you don't, I think it's very problematic for Jim at the end of the year. Like, Mel Tucker just got 10 years. Ryan Day won another Big Ten championship. Ohio State won again. And we're sitting here with 10 wins, but we lost to Michigan State and Ohio State. Like, Jim, we can't do this. We can't do this, Jim. And I think that's going to be the conversation at the end of the year. And it's a tough one. It really is. I could make the argument maybe you keep him, maybe you don't.
It's tough.
I can make it in both ways. It's just...
And what happens now? You got Michigan. Listen, let's say I'm the Michigan athletic director. I'm looking at Michigan State, and I'm like, okay, you re-up this guy. He's here for the next 10 years, and you're closely watching State. Like, and the little brother thing is idiotic to me because now little brother's 2-0 against Jim Harbaugh, and he's a new coach. 2 years in, he's 2-0. What does this mean next year? Let's say Michigan State beats him again. If you're the athletic director, you're looking over there like, that guy's beating you, and we're paying. Now he just got a pay decrease, obviously, Jim Harbaugh, so he kind of knew the pressure was already there, but it's hot seat time. And if Michigan State comes this weekend, which I don't think they will, I think their secondary for Michigan State is
it would be damning. It would be very damning on Michigan if Michigan State were able to beat Ohio State year 2 in Mel Tucker.
What if they play them close and Michigan loses by a couple touchdowns, like 2-3 touchdowns?
I think
that's even
done.
worse.
I think he's done.
Yeah, I agree with
this. This is make it or break it time. And you guys, you're wrong on the contract. Yes, it does affect. It doesn't affect Mel Tucker immediately. The recruiting has already started. It's basically almost done. It's usually done around early February, March. Is when you really get the base guys that you want to get. This move for Michigan State isn't just about recruiting. This is a power move that sets them up in 8 to 10 years. Even if Michigan State isn't a winning program, that they are a dominant brand program. That's what Michigan is. LSU. Everybody looks at LSU. They were national champions a few years ago, and then they've had 2 rough goes after. It's LSU.
Yeah.
It's the Miami job. It's the U. It's the USC job. Texas. These are still top programs. These are still top jobs, even though they don't have the wins to back it up. That's the position Michigan State is trying to head in. And I think they can do it. I really do. Yes, Mel Tucker can probably recruit better now that he has this long commitment. NIL money is a big help, I'm sure. But this is a power move for 8-10 years down the road. Not just in the next 2-3 years we want to have the top recruiting class. No, you will not have the top recruiting class in 3 years. Maybe in 6, 7, 8. But that is pending a lot of things going your way. You would have had to have won a national championship. You have to do what Clemson did. Get to multiple national championships. Win your conference multiple times. That's how Clemson pulled off top recruiting classes.
Yeah.
By delivering on top of making the commitment. Welcome to the big boy league. I'm excited to see how this plays out for Michigan State. I really am.
And I want to say this too. Like we mentioned earlier, how he's the second highest paid collegiate football head coach behind Nick Saban. In my opinion, I get the brand part of it, and you're building a brand. You're making Michigan State more attractive than they ever been because of Mel Tucker. He's a big part of that. But what does this mean in terms of pressure? Because I certainly think there is something there. Like, I get he's there for a multitude of reasons, but winning's important. I mean, that's the number one thing in any program. You're the second highest paid head coach behind Nick Saban. You got to win. And this year they're doing it. They're overachieving.
Nick Saban is an anomaly. Look, if you win a natty every 7 years, I think that's successful.
Let's take Nick Saban out of it. Second paid, highest paid head coach in college football. We'll just say that.
Yeah, who takes over an awful program? Let's be honest. It was not a good football team. They were not recruiting at a high level. They were regressing. He walks in for year one, beats Michigan. So that was the signature win of last year. And then you came in, everybody this year, they're going to win 4 to 6 games. And we're lucky if they win 6. That's Michigan State mindset, right? Okay. How about this? Bet 8-1 start. No, excuse me, 9-1. How about that?
So you think Michigan has a big part? Beating Michigan has a big part of this contract?
Absolutely.
I think that's important. I was going to say that.
Michigan, the win to be starting 2-0 against Michigan, being the first coach to do that. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. Those are rivalry games. That's why Jim is not revered as, the guy, because he just can't beat his rivals. So here we are. Michigan State, again, I think this is a long-term move. This isn't just about Mel Tucker. This is a statement of intent from the Michigan State program that, hey, we want to be revered as an LSU, an Alabama, a Georgia. And I'm not talking just about wins, recruiting, cachet, prestige. We want to be like Michigan. We want to be in the conversation. We don't even want to be like you. We want to be a part of this upper echelon conversation. And if we can get there, well, then winning is only part of it. That's why Michigan, they can win 7 games, it's Michigan. They're still selling out and getting on primetime. They win 10 games, it's considered an amazing year, even though they accomplished nothing theoretically on the football field. No Big Ten championships in 10, 15 years. No college football playoff appearance ever since it became a thing. But it's Michigan. Jim Harbaugh, Michigan. That's where Michigan State is trying to head. And I think the extension was a good first step in the right direction. Can they get there? It's not going to be easy, but they've made the commitment to try and go there. And I don't think you can ask for anything more if you're a Michigan State fan.
All right, you guys, it is almost 9, which means I need to tell you about the turkey games. You can win 2 tickets to the Detroit Thanksgiving game by competing in our turkey games, red light, green light, egg target toss, and the honeycomb challenge. You have a chance to enter at 9, noon, and 3 p.m. on all of our live shows. So make sure you guys are ready in the chat. We will get one of you qualified for our turkey game so you can win front row tickets to the Thanksgiving game after the break.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome back, everyone. It is that time. I got to qualify one of you for the turkey game. So the first one to type "Tuck coming" in the chat, you will be entered for a chance to win our turkey games.
While we wait for that person, whoever it is, to win. Daniel Gray, I love you, buddy. Longtime viewer of the morning show. His comment, winning is how you get there, not by a product. Michigan's brand comes from having the most wins in history. I could make that argument that all those wins came from prior to World War II. How many natties since? How many Big Ten championships in the 2000s? One? Oh, since 2001 Big Ten championship. The last natty was 97? Please, explain to me. Explain to me in the chat. We'll move on because we have to touch on a good friend of the network. She honestly
Detroit's sweetheart.
She has her flaws.
No, I know.
I will say she is annoying at times. But
good person, deep down.
Helped, donated during Stuff a Studio, big part of the network early on, big supporter. So thankful for that, but we got to talk about pretzels, guys. You know what's coming.
And if you follow me on social media, you guys know that I love nothing more than soft pretzels at football games. So this one hurt. Kelly got a little irritated, said there was a 49ers fan heckling her and her squad, and so she chucked a soft pretzel at whoever the man was. She got caught on Instagram. Someone commented, I think, on her post and was like, hey, like, why did I just watch you chuck a pretzel at somebody? And she's like, it was a low moment. She apologized. She said she tried to apologize to the fan in the moment, but her and her group of people got moved by security once they saw an altercation happening. So yeah, some drama with Kelly. Seems she's taking a page out of Jackson Mahomes' book after he threw the water bottle or water. What was it, a Ravens fan? I don't know.
Yeah, Ravens fan.
Dear Lord. But you guys, what are we going to do about Miss Kelly?
Well, nothing about her character, because we know she's a great person, obviously, what she's done for this network in terms of donating gifts and just her being an amazing
you're too
mother.
kind on the great person part.
Hold on.
There are a lot of people that would say on the contrary.
She is. I think she's a good person, but there's instances like this where I just kind of scratch my head. I'm thinking, what makes a let's just say it's me. I'm eating a soft pretzel at a football game. You're in San Francisco, Adam. How much you think you're paying for that soft pretzel?
How about $7?
Yeah.
In San Fran, yeah, probably upwards.
With the cheese,
$7.50. The cheese is like $2.
All right, so we're at $9, $9.50. Then
I'm
you got my beer, so I'm probably at $20 already.
And I'm sure I'm not sitting here and saying she can't afford it. I'm sure she can.
Yeah,
but the fact of the matter is, what made you throw that pretzel? What did that guy say? Oh, Stafford, he can't beat any good team. Like, what did he actually say to where you throw the soft pretzel at him? Because I can't think of it. I got a soft pretzel.
Can we get the video?
I'm eating the soft pretzel.
There's no video.
What do you mean? There has to be a video.
There's not a video.
What?
I know. I've looked everywhere. There's not a video.
It must have happened unless someone was recording.
You need to go on Twitter right now and find it and send it to Alex Westfall.
It does not exist. I promise you. It would be everywhere.
Try it again.
Okay, I'll try again.
I have faith in the internet. They probably got it up by now.
I love Detroit Dabber. This is what Corey said too on Twitter, which is hilarious. I'm surprised the pretzel wasn't intercepted. Well, you know what? I don't know if it got direct impact. I don't know if she smacked this man in the face with a pretzel, but I don't get it. I honestly don't get it.
I thought it was hilarious, honestly. And you know what? I got to give her credit. Most people won't this morning. I'm going to give her the credit she deserves. She noticed that Patrick Mahomes' wife and brother were getting all the news attention. She was like, whoa. I'm the crazy wife. I'm the one in the headlines. Who that? I'm not game with this. I'm not sharing the spotlight. Bet. Next game, I'm throwing a freaking pretzel at somebody. That's exactly what happened.
Why are you so close to 49ers fans?
What's up, Fish?
Am I kind of stupid for wanting to see a fight this weekend when I go to the Lions-Browns game? Is that stupid of me?
Oh, no, it's a great thing to experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
After COVID and how people are acting now?
You want a fun story, Fish?
I don't want to be part of the fight, of course, but I want to see people.
I was at the big house 6 years ago.
Okay.
And there was a fight behind me. And whatever, like, it wasn't that big of a deal. It was just like a little skirmish. But some dude thought I was the one that pushed him up towards the other people. So he dumps a whole freaking thing of Coke on me.
Are you kidding?
I swear to God.
This is before the Twitter hate. Like, this is...
before anything. Before people even knew I existed.
You're right.
Before I even knew I existed. All right? And I looked. I'm like, what? And then everyone was laughing. And he punches me.
Are you serious?
Swear to God. Swear to God.
So you're
I
sitting...
was, what, 20? I was 20 years old.
So I'm 20. I'm at the
He
game.
just literally, like, I get dumped on, I turn around, and the next thing I see is a fist coming right at my face.
And you're by, who are you with?
I was with my friends.
Your friends back you up?
Hell yeah, they did.
All right, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what you got.
Yeah.
That is absurd. Was he drunk? Was he a little?
No, I mean, maybe he pre-gamed too hard. I don't know.
Because what made you, without knowing, just turn around? It's you,
dude. I just
Coke on your face.
I still like have the smell of what that Coke tasted like. That was the Pepsi. I don't even know what the hell it was.
What about the whipped cream? Is that still in your nose?
Yeah, I still smell the whipped cream to this day. That was frustrating, Fish. But look, I mean, these things happen at games.
I tried. There's no video.
There isn't.
There's
that
no
is so
video.
unfortunate.
There's a lot of really good memes on Twitter, though.
I want to see if Stafford's form is like translating to his wife.
Right.
You know.
I know. I think that's the question we all have.
Like I've seen,
I think that's the most important question.
I went to a Red Wings game a couple weeks ago, and there was a fight as well. Like when I was walking out, there was a fight between Tampa. It was the first game of the season, actually. A Tampa Bay fan fought with a Red Wings fan, and there was a street fight. But at the end of the day, Kelly, like this might be. I'm assuming. Listen. You're Kelly Stafford. Why are you in the same area as a bunch of 49ers fans? That's a problem waiting to happen. Like if I'm a 49ers fan, I'm saying something.
If my wife is some superstar, if my wife is some star WNBA player, and I'm sitting in the stands and people are going after her, I'm just gonna sit back and say, "Well, you signed up for this, honey. I can't protect you." On this one.
You're right.
If somebody goes after my wife on Twitter because she threw 2 interceptions. Sorry, honey, you threw the picks, not me. I'm not going to sit here and like defend you. And if people tweet me like, hey, your husband or your wife sucks, whatever the case may be, I'll be like, yeah, like, I had a bad game. It's not my fault. Go DM him about it. Oh, he doesn't have social media? Well, I can't help you. Sorry.
But you're not problematic. There's the difference, all right? She might be a little more problematic.
He would 100% be the
pretzel's
most
pretty harmless, honestly.
problematic WNBA
And it's not
husband.
as like demeaning as dumping a drink on somebody.
Oh, no. And punching.
That is extremely different. Like that is a very disrespectful. If I throw a pretzel at you, if that's not a bitten into a pretzel, you should be thankful. I just gave you an $8 pretzel.
I wonder if she dipped the cheese and then like how is this? I gotta see how it all went down because
Mike G is taking credit for punching me in the face and dumping Coke on me.
That's hilarious.
He's like, damn it, that was me. No, people. This is sports fans in general. Like this year, we've seen more fights than anything, and now people are just enticed to have violence. And Kelly Stafford was in the crosshairs.
Fish, I have a question for you, buddy. You need to hurry up. Are you supporting the Browns or the Lions on Sunday when you go to the game? Just to be honest, I don't care if it's the Browns.
No, I actually...
Are you going to be a neutral?
Yeah, I'll probably be a neutral.
Great. Here's what I want you to do
I'll be in the dog pound, so I'd probably get punched in the balls.
Are you going to be in the dog pound?
Yes.
Okay, hear me out.
Yes, sir.
Are you ready for this, Fish?
Yes.
I want you to go to the dog pound.
Okay.
Be a neutral.
Okay.
Act like you're not a Lions supporter or a Browns supporter to start with. Don't tell them anything.
I won't.
Just here to watch the game. Browns score a touchdown, go freaking ape shit. Jump up.
Gosh, why do you have to... Why?
It was necessary for the story.
Sorry, Justin.
All right? Sorry, Justin. It was necessary. Anyways, you got to go crazy. You got to turn it up, celebrate with everybody, high fives, give them hugs. And then what you do is you wait for the perfect, awkward moment of silence. All right?
Okay.
It can't be when the Lions first score because then you give away, you blow your cover. It's got to be the second time they score. All right? And the next time the Lions score, let's say they go up 10-7 in the first quarter.
I hope they do.
All right? If they go up 10-7, you go nuts. Yeah! Let's go Lions! You freak the hell out. And you give up middle fingers to everybody around you. And listen, if you get assaulted, I'm sorry. But it's worth it, I'm telling you. One, you get to experience the fight you always wanted to experience. 2, you make mortal enemies with everybody around you. And 3, I'm sure there's a few Lions fans around you that might
jump in. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a real good experience, Fish. I totally recommend it.
And not only that, Fish, wear a Lions jersey under your shirt, walk in as a neutral, and once crap starts hitting the fan, take it off. Let everyone know, listen, F all you guys. I'm a Lions fan. Come swing at me. All right, Fish, I want you, because we've been watching a lot of UFC, Fish. I know you got it.
You guys can do it yourself. I will not, but...
You can bust some ass, Fish. I know you can.
That's a lie, but thank you for the compliment.
Fun story. I was watching a soccer game in Europe. Speaking of crazy fans.
Where in Europe?
Guys, you have no idea.
Where in Europe?
You kind
Italy.
of might just be like a punchable person.
Napoli versus Inter Milan, Fish.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So I am a spectator. I'm traveling. I'm in Europe. I'm in Europe for work. I'm like, all right, I'm in Italy. I'm going to go watch a soccer game. Let's experience it. I just bought any ticket. I didn't know that there was a away section, a home section. So I bought tickets.
In the away section?
In the away section.
Oh, yeah.
at an Italian soccer home game. So
Freaking middle finger the whole other team.
And I'm telling you guys, you think it's bad at football games? These people are totally racist in Italy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, really bad. They were
Can
throwing
you say that?
They were throwing bananas on the field.
Are you joking?
They were.
No, that's actually real.
Oh, I know.
It was extremely it was really bad.
Yeah,
but
that's bad.
Back to the real problem with all this. If you're in the away section, the stands to the right of you and to the left of you are throwing stuff at you, throwing lighters.
Oh yeah. Yep.
They're swearing at you. They're trying to get past the stewards to fight you.
Oh yeah,
it is the
real.
most wild thing ever. And I didn't go to the game wearing a jersey, so I was like, I'm fine. I'm not gonna get killed today.
Well, you're in the
and
away
I'm in
section.
the worst part of the stadium. And what happens to like a complete match under the entire thing? The away team scores a goal in the 93rd minute to win the game. So the whole away section is going crazy, celebrating, throwing up middle fingers to everybody, and I swear to God, fights are already breaking out, and I'm sitting there not celebrating like I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. These people saw me sitting in this seat. The second I leave, I'm gonna die. And I walk out, and it's like mayhem. People are fighting. It's the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life. And soccer fans are extremely crazy, and I wouldn't recommend the experience to anybody.
I would.
No, not at all. I was lucky to walk away not getting into a fight that day.
They don't escort you out at different times?
It didn't matter, Fish. They wait for you.
They're waiting to jump in.
You're walking out, guys. It's like a group, and then there's like literally 30 stewards like protecting you from like this whole insane crowd, and then they let you leave. But once you're in the street, it's fair game.
Yeah, it's fair game.
You're done. Once you leave like a mile, not a mile, but like a block or two away from the stadium, you're toast. Especially the ones that wear the away jerseys. Like they're proud. I'm just like a casual. And all my fear is that whole day while I'm walking around is like, is somebody going to recognize me from the game and jump me? And that's all I was waiting for that whole day. Nothing happened. End of story.
Where was the game at?
It was in Napoli.
Okay.
Naples.
Oh, so you were an Inter fan?
No. I was a neutral that day. I just went there to watch the game.
Oh, well, okay. You were in the intersection, though.
I was in the intersection.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I don't get how football being a more physical sport, you got soccer, which...
They're just freaking nuts.
They're just
I
nuts.
don't get these people. I don't understand Europeans. Everybody in America complains, look what the Europeans are doing. You don't want to know what the hell the Europeans are doing.
I do.
I promise you, you got it a lot better here, folks. Honestly. It's pretty bad there.
You're only getting a pretzel to the face here.
You think, everybody's got health care there. They must be so happy. It's like one country that actually runs it successfully. I think it's Denmark,
There's a few. Denmark, Switzerland, Sweden's happy.
Yeah, well, those are like 3 countries out of the 137. So, we're moving on. We got to go to break.
We do have to go to break.
Did we announce a winner?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I did it in the chat.
Okay, cool.
Okay. We're covered. All right. When we come back, we will do these guys' Big 10 power rankings, so get pumped for that. But first, our friends over at the Folding Warehouse.
All right, guys, the Folding Warehouse. You know what it's about. Home of the original football bowling pin game called Folding. Host your corporate party event, team building event, or just come with family and friends to have a great time. 2 ways to play. $10 open play. You can stay the whole time. We're open throughout the day and night. And, of course, a private lane reservation. For $120, you can host up to 10 people for 2 hours. We have over 100 beers, $2 Mystic Beer Machine, and of course multiple bars throughout the facility. Bring your own food or have it delivered in. Whether you want pizza, fish, doesn't matter. Bring it in. Come and get your full on. Check it out at foldingwarehouse.com. That's foldingwarehouse.com.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for listening to the Woodward Sports Network. Featured. Oh my gosh, I've been hanging out with Fish too much. Featured on the Roar 93.5 FM, 99.1 FM, and 94.7 HD2. All right. Jeff's pumped for this one, so I want to start with him. We are doing the Big Ten power rankings. So, Jeff, who's at the bottom of your list?
Well, we're going to start at 5. We'll do
Okay.
our top 5 power rankings. Number 5 for me, it's Iowa Hawkeyes. And you know what? 6 would be the Penn State if I had to go there. But listen, Iowa, huge win over Minnesota. My next ranking at 4 would explain why they're at 5. They really only lost, they lost to Wisconsin, and now they're going to have to really win out. I think right now Iowa's set up to really go 10-2, maybe a bowl win this year. But Iowa's number 5 this year for me, ranking. What about you, Adam? You agree or disagree with me right now? Iowa at 5.
I don't know. I am going to give the nod a number 5 to Wisconsin. Number 5, I'm going to give it to Wisconsin. Having a good year, top of their division in the Big Ten. I like Wisconsin. They've turned it around. They had a tough start to the year, tough games played, and they've really done a good job since. I'm going to roll with Wisconsin at 5. No issue with you putting Iowa there, though.
Okay. And then at 4, Wisconsin for me. They had the win over Iowa. And as of late, ever since the Michigan game, they've looked way better. Graham Mertz looks like an actual functioning quarterback, after getting injured versus Michigan. But, yeah, Wisconsin, they're trending upwards, top of the division. So I'm giving Wisconsin the nod. And they're finding their run game. They're finding their identity again and how they win games. So if the offense can really, find themselves to somewhat contend for a Big Ten championship, I don't think they will.
Wisconsin's won 6 straight, so it's kind of hard for me not to have them maybe above Iowa, but I'm gonna keep Iowa at 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep Iowa at 4. Tough loss to Penn State. I'm not gonna kill them for it. I like Iowa. I like Iowa right now. We'll see how the season plays out, but for now I'm gonna keep Iowa at 4. Number 3. This is where things get interesting. So let's just all be honest. Your top 3 are likely one of the 3 teams: Michigan, Michigan State, and Ohio State. So what's the order you got? Give it to me. Number 3.
Number 3, I have the Michigan Wolverines. And listen, you could pull that they have a more complete team, but listen, all I know is wins and losses. And Michigan
they have the
State
same wins and losses as Michigan State.
And Michigan State beat them head to head. So that's kind of where I have them ranked right now. We'll see. Yes, their loss to Purdue wasn't the greatest, but at the same time, head-to-head matters to me, and I'm leaving Michigan to Wolverines at 3. They could jump.
I think there is a recency bias with the Michigan State outcome, right? Because 3 weeks ago, Michigan lost on the road, but I think we can all acknowledge they were dominating that game. They were up 30-14, and then they choked it away. They did, and Michigan State went out and won that game in the fourth quarter. Hell of a job. But I think you walked away with question marks of both teams. Were Michigan legit, and how fortunate were Michigan State? Are Michigan State legit? And they follow it up with a bad loss to Purdue on the road. Even though Purdue beat Iowa earlier on in the year, I'm going to keep Michigan State at number 3. I still like Michigan more as a whole. I think they're a more complete team. But I understand the head-to-head aspect of it. I really do. And believe me, it frustrates me that the committee uses it in some instances and not all of it. But I'm not going to use head-to-head in my argument case today. I'm going to make the argument that Michigan State are a very solid team, but they have extreme deficiencies in the secondary, and that is extremely concerning for me. They got away with it against Michigan. They didn't get away with it against Purdue, and they will not get away with it against Ohio State. And that's problematic. And if I look at Michigan, how do you eliminate a bad secondary? How do you hide a bad secondary? You get to the quarterback quickly. What does Michigan have? Aiden Hutchinson and Ajabo. So I'm going to take Michigan State at number 3 and follow it up with Michigan at number 2.
Listen, as much as I respect you putting Michigan at number 2, my question would be, you're saying the Penn State win.
I think Michigan have a better loss than Michigan State.
But we're talking about...
And on top of everything I just said, too.
I know, I get you. And listen, you can talk about what they have, their secondary, but at the end of the day, they're one rank apart from each other. It'd be 2 or 3. So
yeah, no,
you're talking
it doesn't really matter. It's not like we're...
Yeah, it's not like a huge deal, but that's why...
It's really close, but I think it's very important to acknowledge how the whole season played out, right? Let's remember, it's 2 7-0 teams walking in on Devil's Night. Michigan State is the home team, and they were down 30-14 at one point. They came back.
They won.
They fly in, and they win the football game. An outstanding comeback. Couldn't give them more than enough credit for it. Unbelievable. They followed that up with a letdown loss to Purdue. And it is a letdown. They were so high off the Michigan game, they didn't show up for Purdue, and that's unfortunate. But you saw 3 straight weeks now, including the Maryland game, where their secondary is easily exposed.
I get that.
And if I'm moving forward, I know that Michigan are giving me something consistent on the defensive side of the ball. That's their edge rush. Which means I like them moving forward more than I like Michigan State, because I have to really take into account, okay, Michigan State's playing Ohio State. How they keep it close, it's going to rely on Kenneth Walker having a hell of a day. They're going to have to control the clock and limit the amount of time C.J. Stroud touches the ball. And they're going to have to force a few turnovers, which is unlikely. And if they can do that, well, then they have a chance to beat Ohio State. But that is so many cases of, like, things that you don't usually deliver on that you're going to have to. And that's why I don't like Michigan State moving forward, and that's why I have them at number 3.
My question to you would be this. If you're looking at, listen, their defense, the
If
most
I'm looking
consistent
at
part.
record?
No, but let me finish, though. Michigan State, their offense has been consistent, right? We can agree to that. At least their offense has always been there and shown up. Defensively, they haven't. I could say the same. It's opposite for Michigan. Their defense has been a consistent thing all year. Offensively, there's been times where they've squeaked by. So that's my only. I got Michigan head-to-head. They were up. Yes, Michigan was up. But they couldn't stop Michigan State with that defense. So it's, and I hear you. I think that if I had to talk about who has a better chance to beat Ohio State, it's Michigan, but just the rankings. Anyway, moving on.
Number 1, we both agree Ohio State.
Got to be Ohio State. And honestly, I don't know if either Michigan or Michigan State could beat them, but if I had to really pick one team, if I had to bet my money, take my whole bank account, throw it on a bet, I'm going Michigan because of what they have defensively. So I agree with you there. Their pass rush is going to help hide their secondary. It's going to help keep them in this ball game when they do play. They're in Ann Arbor anyway, so they have everything going for them. And if you had to talk about really who's challenging them, Michigan State offensively will challenge them. But even if State scores, let's say, 34 against Ohio State's probably going to score 40. Or if not more than that. So it's tough to really sit here and say anybody's challenging Ohio State, but to your point.
I don't think Ohio State is that. Look,
they're vulnerable, but
they were up 3 points. Penn State had the ball in the fourth quarter on the road in Columbus. Michigan and Michigan State both equally have a great opportunity to win. But we got to head to break. When we get back, Thursday Night Football tonight, and then we have our interview with Brandon Brown shortly after. I'm extremely excited for it. Kennedy?
Yes, stick around for all of that. But, Jeff, first, where do you get your hair done?
Well, listen, Lady Jane's, they could take care of you. Anybody you know, you take your boat right in here on either a Sunday morning, easy like a Sunday morning. You come in, you sit down, you watch all your favorite sports teams on the televisions, and the ladies here will take care of you. You walk out, and you're handsome and clean. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. You can walk in any time of the day because they're wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. One mortgage myth we hear all the time is having to choose between a 15 or a 30-year fixed term. At Hall Financial, we offer the modern mortgage to create a flexible term that fits your unique financial situation. Our team of mortgage experts are available 7 days a week to review your goals and customize a solution for you. Get started today with a free 5-minute mortgage review at 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy Thursday, which means we've got Thursday Night Football tonight. I am very excited for this game, actually. The Pats taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The Pats are currently sitting at 6-4. Atlanta is 4-5. Jeff, will you go ahead and preview tonight's game for me?
Yeah, listen, Patriots, they're serious. And listen, Mac Jones, we knew coming out of the draft he was the most NFL-ready quarterback. But looking at it right now, he just overall looked like the most talented quarterback because he translates, and you saw the question, he's so mature too, especially, I mean, it must be the Alabama, the Nick Saban going to Bill Belichick thing because the guy was asked at a press conference, are you allowed to check out of plays at the line of scrimmage? And he responded with, that's top secret. I mean, that's a Patriot response right there. And Mac Jones is special. This is an opportunity for him to get another win in the win column. And you saw what he was able to do. They're not asking a lot out of Mac Jones. Like, they'll blow teams out and he'll have 150 to 200 yards passing. It's not a big problem what Mac Jones, it's not a big load on his shoulders. And you look at all the other rookies, the Trevor Lawrences, the Justin Fields, now Zach Wilson's injured, of course, but those guys have more of a weight on their shoulders. You can agree Mac Jones is in the best situation. He went to the best team. And as soon as he fell in the draft, the 49ers passed on him. We knew the Patriots at 14, if he went there, that the league was doomed. If you pair Mac Jones with Bill Belichick, he's their prototypical quarterback, and Mac Jones tonight, I believe, is going to absolutely beat the brakes off the Atlanta Falcons. Not him individually, but this defense. I mean, this defense, Matthew Judon is amongst the top of the league in sacks. You saw how valuable he was to the Ravens last year. This Patriots defense didn't skip a beat. They traded Stephon Gilmore. Secondary still looks, if you're a quarterback, you can't sleep the night before. There's no way. Every quarterback who's played against them essentially seen ghost. I mean, Sam Darnold, the Zach Wilsons of the world. It's inevitable that you're going to see ghosts playing against this New England Patriots defense. And I honestly believe they're going to challenge the Bills this year. And the Bills, they're going to win more games, but the Patriots won't be too far behind them because of their defense and because they take care of the football and they run the ball effectively. They commit to the run, and Josh McDaniels is doing a fantastic job. So tonight, what to expect? Expect Mac Jones to play well. The secondary is going to take advantage of him, and expect Atlanta to probably fall to 4-6. I think they play better. They're coming off an ugly loss against the Cowboys, and if you're talking about narratives, it kind of favors the Falcons a little bit because they can't get blown out that bad again at home. But at the same time, it's Bill Belichick and the Patriots, man. They got a unit, and I think they're going to win convincingly tonight.
Yeah, I think the Mac Jones praise is well-deserved, but I think we need to slow down a little bit. He went to the best situation, the best OC, the best head coach, the best supporting cast. I mean, this is kind of what you expect. And is this Mac Jones' ceiling? I don't think his ceiling is any higher than what he's doing now. Extremely high completion percentage, efficient in the red zone, good touchdown to interception ratio, an average quarterback passer rating. Baker has a better passer rating. Kirk Cousins has a better passer rating.
It's not about his ceiling, I don't think, but it is about how he's playing now. Like, ceiling-wise, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, better ceilings, I think.
If you put Mac Jones on the Bears, he would have already been ran out of town. I don't think he could have coped with that bad of an offensive line, an anemic offense, and let's be honest, a head coach who's trending downwards and Matt Nagy. So if he was on them, if he went to the Niners, I could make the argument he'd probably be looking the same. I think he'd be doing pretty damn good with the Niners. But regardless, he's not doing what Trevor Lawrence is doing in Jacksonville. He's not doing what Justin Fields is kind of, slightly doing. It's not the best, but working with what he has out in Chicago. We're very quick to crown people in today's media. It's unbelievable. If you put Trevor Lawrence or even Zach Wilson in New England, I could argue they could probably be doing a more dynamic and better job. Put Mac Jones on the Jets. Put Mac Jones on the Jets. See how he does. Wouldn't it be great?
Honestly, I think he's a more
stable quarterback. I think he's a stable, good quarterback. He was pro-ready coming out.
Yeah.
I think he was going to get you what New England's getting out of him now. They're 6-4, and I think, like most rookies, he's going to be inconsistent at times. But it's not as often as other rookies are, and I think that's the plus. Going into tonight's game, I like Atlanta to cover. I really do. Coming off a blowout loss, you got to take Atlanta tonight. I believe, 7.5 dogs? 7.5 point underdogs? I'm going to take a touchdown win. I'll take New England to win by a touchdown. That's fine. Nothing more. Give me that all day on a short week. Thursday Night Football, going to be a low-scoring game. Offenses are going to struggle.
It's what is the Falcons score against this defense?
I'm thinking it's a 20-17, 21-14 game. That's what I think. I think it's going to be extremely low scoring. So I'll probably take the under, and I'll take the Falcons to cover tonight. That's going to be my two bold predictions. But Kennedy, we got to hit the break real quick. When we come back, Brandon Brown joining the Woodward Sports Network. So excited to have him on.
Yes. Can't wait. But first, we need to hear about our friends over at Gypsy Vodka.
All right, guys, let me tell you about Gypsy Vodka. It's gluten-free and a corn distilled 6 times using artisan spring water. Local brothers Mike and Adam are from Michigan. They attended the University of Michigan State and graduated. Try a bottle today. Ask for it by the name of Gypsy, one of the smoothest tasting vodkas you will have. Again, that's Gypsy. Always drink responsibly. Please, guys, I'm a very big proponent of this, especially Jeff, a newly 21-year-old. Drink responsibly, everyone. Gypsy vodka.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
And a miraculous catch.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for hanging out with us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. We are going to have Brandon Brown on right here in a second, the publisher of Wolverine Digest of Sports Illustrated. Oh, there he is. Hi, Brandon. Thanks for joining us today. These guys are super pumped to talk some Michigan football with you, so thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
I will go ahead and hand it off to the desk so they can start asking you some questions.
Hey, Brandon. Thanks so much for joining us again this morning, everybody. Brandon Brown. Brandon, I got to start with this. We all know the Mel Tucker news. Big deal for Michigan State. I think the consensus around the country is they're trying to take that next step. How can they become a reputable program? We know they've won a Big Ten title in recent years. We know they've made a college football playoff appearance, but how do they get to the level of a Michigan prestige brand? And I don't think they ever could do it, at least in my lifetime, but I think it's something they're going to try to do at least. And I really want your take, one, on the move. Do you think it's the right decision? Is it bold? And then two, how does this affect Michigan and really Jim Harbaugh moving forward? Does that put more pressure on them?
I think it is bold, but I think it is the right decision. I mean, he's done something in 2 seasons that I don't think a lot of people saw coming. You know, and like I said, in a matter of not even 2 complete seasons, he's passed Michigan. I mean, he's 2-0 against the Wolverines. He's 2-0 against Jim Harbaugh. He's been able to identify some very efficient, effective talent in the transfer portal. He's already recruiting better. He's winning on the field. He's doing everything exactly the way you'd want it to be going in year 2 of a rebuild. And it is bold. It's a massive contract, but I think it's what you have to do to show that you're serious about what he means to the program. It's pretty clear that his name is already being mentioned for some other big jobs. So in order to lock him up and make it known that you're serious about what he's doing and what he's been able to do, you got to pay him. You got to pay him big money, and that's what they're prepared to do. And you know, there's probably going to be some facility upgrades and things like that. He's recruiting better, so you're going to get more resources there, a bigger pool for his assistants. I mean, all of it. It's an arms race in college football, and when you're, you know, ranked inside the top 6, 7, 8 in the country and battling for a Big Ten title and maybe a playoff spot, that's as big as it gets. So you roll a contract out there to match it, and yeah, he's done better than I thought he would, faster than I thought he would. I think even Michigan State fans would say that. So yeah, it is the right move for them for sure.
Fair enough. Brandon, moving on. Maryland up this week on the road. You don't want to look ahead to Ohio State, but you can't help but look ahead to Ohio State. This is likely another 10-win season for Harbaugh. They probably take care of business against Maryland, but based on how Michigan State plays Ohio State, if they play them close and they lose in Columbus, and then Ohio State goes to Ann Arbor and handles business, let's say in a blowout fashion against Michigan, is that it for Jim Harbaugh? Are we done? Are we moving forward? Especially with the Mel Tucker news. Again, Michigan has a prestigious brand. I don't see it going away anytime soon. But you got to back it up with a Big Ten title, or at least an appearance eventually, Jim, right?
Man, I've had a pretty solid stance on my my views on Jim Harbaugh. I thought he should have been gone last year. I thought, you know, if Michigan had to play Ohio State last year, it was going to be ugly. They didn't because of COVID, and the year was weird, and I know that. And they're better this year than a lot of people thought they would be. I had them at 7-5 before the season started. Obviously, they've been much better than that, and some of the opponents they played weren't as good as I thought. But it is what it is. You play the games you can play, and you win what you can win, and they've won all but one, and that's pretty damn good. But you know, if you go 10-2 and you do have another 10-win season, that's great. But the 2 losses are to the only teams that you have to beat, or the 2 teams that are most important to beat on your schedule. And again, the 3-4 overall record at Michigan State, 0-2 against Mel Tucker, 0 for the world against Ohio State. If it plays out that way, I do give Michigan a slight chance in that one, but I'd still be picking Ohio State. And yeah, like you said, no trips to Indy, no opportunities to play for a Big Ten title. I don't know, man. I mean, it's year 7, and he doesn't have much to hang his hat on other than a pretty good overall record. But even the overall record's not very good against the good teams. I mean, he's stacked up a lot of wins against the bottom feeders of the Big Ten, and so it's a discussion that's going to be had. I mean, there's going to be tons and tons of apologists and Harbaugh fans out there that say there's no way you can move on from a guy after 10 wins. And, like, that's kind of hard to argue against, but when you look at the overall picture and what he hasn't been able to do and where he's come up short, it's, man, I don't know. I guess if this is what Michigan football is going to be, you just beat the not very good teams, you lose to your rivals, and you never play for anything of any significance, then that's what it's been under Jim Harbaugh. So it's going to be a tough discussion in the offseason, and I don't think you do. I don't think there's any way that Michigan moves on from him after winning 10 games, especially when it was a pretty good turnaround based on what a lot of people thought it was going to be.
Well, Brandon, the last time you were here and we talked, it was a lot of J.J. McCarthy talk. The season, I believe they were still 2-0, 3-0 at the time. And, we talked, like, Michigan, you have to beat your rivals. And now we fast forward, and we know that Cade McNamara is average. I want your feedback on him, of course, but, he's had an okay season. He delivered for 3 quarters against against Michigan State. And then when it mattered in the 4th quarter, he overshot his receivers on multiple occasions, one being in the red zone. That would have put them back up 2 scores. Your thoughts on Cade McNamara and his ceiling really for the remaining 2 games? Can he deliver against Ohio State? Are you confident it's even possible? And then more importantly, I do agree. I don't think they move off of Harbaugh come a 10-win season at the end of the year. But Michigan has always been like this, Brandon, haven't they? They haven't won a Big Ten title since the early 2000s. I mean, this is a program that, again, the brand is deservingly so. They're perceived here. But when it comes to on-the-field accomplishments, they're about right here. They're a Tier 2 program at best as in terms of on-the-field results.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why the Jim Harbaugh discussion is so heated, because he was brought to Michigan to be better than that. People will say, well, where in his contract did it say specific? Like, that's what he was brought there to do. He was brought there to pull way ahead of Michigan State, pull even with Ohio State, and play for a Big Ten title here and there. I mean, Ohio State's they're in an era of their program that they've never been in as well. I mean, they're really, really good, and people will use that as an excuse. But, like, Jim Harbaugh was brought to Michigan to try to even that up. Not dominate them, not beat them every single year, but be competitive. Maybe go 50-50 with them. Get back to a point where you're at least competing and beating them once in a while so you can play for a Big Ten title. And obviously he hasn't done that. And, with Cade, he's 9-1 this year as a starter. I mean, that's obviously respectable, but he's good, not great. I mean, I still don't think he's gonna put up the kind of numbers that you need to win at the highest level, and that's against the Ohio States of the world. That's against Michigan State this year. That would be against any team they might see in the playoff if they were to make it there. Now, if they make it to the Big Ten title, they can probably handle whoever comes out of the West. I mean, that's kind of how it's been for a long time in the Big Ten. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Cade, I've been pretty critical of him all year. I think deservedly so, but he's done enough to win all but one game. And honestly, against Michigan State, the much bigger issue was that Kenneth Walker was unstoppable that day. I mean, Cade did miss some throws. If he was a little better down the stretch, maybe that game plays out a little differently, but you can't let one guy score 5 touchdowns in a game. You can't do that and expect to win on the road. I mean, it just can't happen. So I don't disagree. I think Cade was really good for about 3 quarters and maybe missed some shots when you needed to hit them. But I think there were bigger issues in that game than Cade McNamara. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's an elite quarterback. And, he's been good enough to beat the teams that they should beat. I think they'll beat Maryland, but we'll see what it looks like against Ohio State. And that's why that's one of the reasons why I would lean towards Ohio State still, even in this year when people think Michigan's got a fighting chance. I think it's a long shot. I really do.
Actually, that was my next question. With the pass rush Michigan has in the defense, we talk about this being, if not a great chance for them to beat Ohio State. Obviously, you have Cade McNamara, and you have your own opinions about him. But do you agree that at least this year, compared to State and the secondary issues they have, that Michigan has a legitimate shot to at least compete with an Ohio State this year, despite probably losing the game?
Define compete. I mean, does that mean losing by 10 or 12 instead of 30? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. David Ojabo and Aiden Hutchinson certainly level the playing field a little bit. If those guys are making it tough for C.J. Stroud and Talia Tagovailoa this weekend, I mean, I know it's tough. It's tough not to look past Maryland. I think Michigan's favored by more than 2 touchdowns, and they're expected to win that one. But they've got to take care of business there first, and Tagovailoa is talented, and they've got some speed at receiver. But Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo can make it tough for any quarterback in the country. We saw it last week against Sean Clifford. I mean, the dude got hit and got hit and got hit, sacked 7 or 8 times in the game. And, I mean, they should be able to do that against anybody because they've been doing it all year. I mean, there's a legitimate chance that both of them break the single-season sack record in the same year. It's crazy. So they're obviously getting the job done, and that can be an equalizer against a good team like Ohio State, who has to have C.J. Stroud play well and get the ball into the hands of his playmakers. And if he's getting beat up all day, that job becomes more difficult. So I do think Michigan will have everything to play for. They'll be fired up. The leadership on this team does seem to be special and a little different than we've seen in the past. But at the end of the day, it's a talent thing. And I just mentioned, the day that Kenneth Walker had, and Travion Henderson's pretty damn good. And the wide receivers at Ohio State are pretty damn good. So it's just they're just really good. I mean, there's no other way to slice it. They're a very good team with lots of NFL talent and lots of skill and athleticism at the skill positions. They're just a hard matchup. I mean, they're putting 50 on everybody they play with ease, and I think it's going to be a long day for Michigan. I really do. I mean, I'd love to be wrong. Covering this team winning has been a lot more fun than covering the losses last year, but it's Ohio State, and they just roll. That's kind of what they do at this point.
Brandon, before we let you go, I want your opinion on the College Football Committee in general, especially the rankings. I know they don't matter until the season is over, and I'm not going to ask you about whether or not Michigan should be higher than Michigan State or vice versa, but I want your thoughts on a potential move moving forward. Not only just an expansion to 8 teams, but maybe getting rid of divisions in college football. I think it's very unfortunate that at the end of the year, Michigan and Ohio State have to play each other, and the loser is kind of in this wonderland of, well, what's next? And the winner, of course, goes to Indianapolis, but they play a 3-4 loss division winner. I don't like it. I think at the end of the year, the 2 best records in the conference should be making a trip to Indianapolis. What do you think of that?
I mean, yeah, that makes the most sense. It's weird that just because, Wisconsin, Iowa, Nebraska are over there in the West, they get a little bit of a free pass sometimes. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, you put the 2 best teams together, let them take the trophy home. The team would be 4th or 5th or 6th overall in the conference shouldn't even really have a chance at it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I know that's kind of how it's been, and I think probably
I could make
when
the
the divisions
argument. I could make the argument, Brandon, that if Wisconsin, let's say they remove divisions, and in the final game of the year, Ohio State is 10-1, and Michigan is 10-1, likely the scenario we see this year. Well, if Michigan loses or actually, let's say Michigan beats Ohio State this year, and they go on, they're 11-1, but then they got to rematch Ohio State in the conference title game at 10-2, and then Ohio State wins. Well, I can make the argument that I have 2 Big Ten teams that probably should be in the college football playoff, even if it's only a 4-team format. I think it really gives these teams more of a, hey, these are good losses, like Alabama, Georgia. If Bama runs the table, nobody's punishing Georgia at this point. But if Bama beats Georgia, if Georgia beats Bama, Bama are done for the year. But what if they played in the SEC title game and then Bama beat Georgia again? It's like, well, crap. This is a 1-loss team, and then there's a 2-loss SEC champion. How do we handle this? That's kind of, I think it adds more drama. I think it makes the decision much more difficult on the committee, and then it really sends a message to teams like Notre Dame, Cincinnati, like, hey, Texas Christian can't have a more difficult strength of schedule than you. get your act together, go join a conference, a reputable conference, or schedule better opponents. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, or you you bump to 8, 12, or 16 teams, and then we just figure it out that way. I mean, like, obviously that's where it's trending towards, and that's what's going to end up happening. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it's weird that there are some of these division matchups are. I mean, they don't really make any sense. It's like I just said. Like, if you have a team in the SEC, whatever conference it is, that would be 4th, 5th, or 6th overall, is getting a shot to play in the title game just because they're on the other side of some arbitrary conference divisions that exist because they were selected, however many years ago. Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, if there's the 2 best teams by a good margin, I mean, Michigan went into Madison and beat up on Wisconsin. I mean, and Wisconsin may end up playing in the Big Ten title game just because they're on the other side of the coin. So it's weird. It's probably not the best way. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets amended at some point, but it is what it is for this year. Michigan, at the end of the day, ever since the Michigan State game, it's just been about, win your games. Win your games and let it play out. They do need a little help. I expect Michigan State to lose to Ohio State this weekend, so it's all going to be on the table for them, and they can take care of their own business and punch their own ticket and not worry about all that other stuff. But, it's going to take a huge win against Ohio State at the end of the season that we haven't seen under Jim Harbaugh. But to his credit, he's done a couple other things this year that he hasn't done before. The win against Wisconsin in Madison and the win last weekend against Penn State when they were down in the 4th quarter. So there's some hope and there's some optimism and there's reasons to be optimistic, but it's going to take a big time effort because Ohio State's really good.
Fair enough.
100%.
All right, Brandon, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to come talk to us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. Once again, everyone, Brandon Brown, publisher of Wolverine Digest for Sports Illustrated. Thank you so much for your time. Coming up next, everyone, I think we're going to do something you're going to like. We're going to get to our mailbag, which means you guys need to leave as many comments, questions for these two in the chat, and we will get to all of your questions and answer them after the break. But first, I need to tell you what to do this weekend. You need to come hang out with Woodward Sports Live for the Lions pregame show with Jose Cuervo at O'Toole's in Royal Oak from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Braylon Edwards, Stick, Maz, Jade from Riff, and myself will be there to host you guys. And then, of course, the party cannot end at the pregame. You got to come to the postgame as well with Stick and Anson at the 2-minute warning of every Lions game at the Brass Rail. They start streaming right at the 2-minute warning of every single Lions game. There will be DJs, drinks, and a Woodward VIP section with food and more, so make sure you come to that for every single Lions game. All right, leave your questions for us in the chat, and we will see you after the break.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. With mortgage interest rates unbelievably low, the stakes to find your new home have never been higher. And that's why Hall Financial's exclusive realtor network allows us to connect you with a top-rated realtor in your area, making sure you take on the housing market and win. Hall Financial has earned over 4,000 five-star reviews because of our technology and our commitment to closing your loan fast. 866-CALL-HALL or chat with us online at callhallfirst.com.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us right here on the Morning Woodward Show. All right, we are opening what we're calling our mailbag now. And the first question from AL Green H-Town. Who do the Lions choose with the #1 pick? Obviously, it's a little early, boys, but if you had to choose, go ahead and do it for me.
Cade McNamara.
Yeah, I think we mutually agree.
And
Kyle Hamilton.
I could make the argument, though. I'm just saying, hear me out, because I think this is going to come off as a bit maybe out there.
Okay.
But I think you consider taking Aiden Hutchinson #1 overall.
Absolutely
Now,
not.
is the ceiling as high as Thibodeau? Similar to a Myles Garrett?
I don't think so.
I can't make that argument, but if you want a right now guy, probably Aiden. If you want a guy that in 2-3 years is unstoppable, you're taking Kayvon Thibodeau, and you're hoping that he turns out to be like a Myles Garrett. But you when you run the risk of taking a DN like this, though, remember Jadeveon Clowney? Can't miss. Can't miss.
The big hit in college.
Can't miss coming out. You take him. You go number 1 overall. Expectations come with it.
Yeah.
And Myles Garrett has lived up to it. He was a good number 1 overall pick for his position.
But he was productive in college.
Yeah, but
very
I'm
productive.
saying,
Like 12
here's the
sacks
risky
a year
run, right?
Yeah.
But if you get Aiden Hutchinson at 5, I guarantee you he's a career sack, 70 sack guy, 80 sack guy. He doesn't miss. But with Thibodeau, he could be the 100 sack guy, the Hall of Fame type player, right? But he can also miss, and it's like, oh, makes you nervous. But I think right now you got to take Thibodeau, guys. You got to take Thibodeau.
That's an interesting argument because it's tough though. I get the ready.
I can't take Hutchinson at 1. I could take him at 3 or 4 though, and nobody would slate me for it. But if I take him at 1, I'm going to get slated.
It's kind of the Mac Jones thing. Like you could take another quarterback that has that higher ceiling. You're taking a guy that is ready to play right now in any situation. That's Aiden Hutchinson. To your point, I think he's probably the most pro ready. But as a senior. Kayvon Thibodeau, younger, I think he has more of an upside. He's been, even in games he's missed this year due to injury, the games he plays, you see the impact he has. Forced fumbles, either sacks, getting after quarterback. He's a valuable guy, man. He's going number 1 overall. It's just how it is. Pass rushers are probably a little overvalued, but deservingly so. They're important. So, Kayvon Thibodeau going number 1 for me, guys, if that's the...
Anthony Bono, do you double down and take another D lineman in the back end of the first round? The draft should be loaded with edge players. Look, if I think if you take Thibodeau, you gotta go with the safety out of Alabama if he's available late in the first round.
What about the one out of Notre Dame?
He's going top 5,
I
genius.
know. I want
Stop
him
this.
so bad, though.
No, we're not taking Kyle Hamilton number 1. How about that? Stop.
There should.
And we don't need another Notre Dame defensive player coming to the league and being a bust.
No more top 3, even number 1 now. Secondary players. I can't do it. I have a little bit of PTSD.
Probably goes number 3. Singletary's probably a single. I think it's Singletary.
Stingley.
Stingley.
From
Excuse
LSU.
me.
I was like, who?
Yeah, I don't know why.
You were on track.
I was just looking at Devin Singletary in my fantasy pickup. Excuse me during the break. But Stingley likely goes 3, 4, or 5. I think it makes sense whoever gets him.
Mm-hmm.
But having said that, I don't think you go back-to-back edge players. I think in this late first round, you got to go safety, you got to go corner, or you go wide receiver, and you go out on a limb, and you go grab an Olave, you go grab a Drake London, you go grab a Penn State wide receiver. I'm losing his name. You go grab a Jahan Dotson.
Yep.
That's who you go grab in the second round. Late first round. Second round, you can go back on D lineman, or if you take a receiver with your second first round pick, then maybe you go secondary in the early second round. And then you go secondary again, or you can go D line. I don't care, but that's likely what you're going to look like. Or maybe you go Carson Strong in the second round. That's also a possibility. And then in the third round, you go safety. Secondary, or maybe Carson falls to the third round, or maybe there's another quarterback that you like that you take in the third, fourth round. So many options for the Detroit Lions.
And I real quick, I want to say this. Another prospect that I love, and people are talking about in the chat, especially Funky. Listen, Nakobe Dean, linebacker for Georgia, has been all over the place. I mean, his ability he can get interceptions, get after the quarterback, force fumbles. He's a complete linebacker, and that's a guy the Lions definitely need to look at somewhere in the draft. I mean, you need a guy like that, an impact. He's ready to play. Similar last year to Micah Parsons, or even before then, to other players. I love Nakobe Dean, so I would love that pick, Funky. Just had to add that in. So, but number 1, you're going Kayvon Thibodeau. First overall pick. I wouldn't even have a problem if you had defense again, but wide receiver would be great if one falls to you. If there's a Justin Jefferson situation, you take the guy. But other than that, I'm all for defense.
Well, you know what? Here, I'm going to do the mock draft machine right now, just to make this a lot easier. Okay? And we're going to do this as a group, all right?
Okay.
Everybody get ready in the chat. We're going to do the first 4 rounds. How about that? For the Detroit Lions. And we're going to make this easy. Are we going to agree we're not going to do trades? Can we agree?
No trades.
Fair? Are we okay with this?
Yes.
No trades.
Very fair.
Just for this, you mean?
All right. Okay, number 1 overall selection. We are going to make, we're going to go grab Kayvon Thibodeau. Is everyone okay with this?
Fine.
Everyone on the same page?
Yeah.
Chat, we're good?
Chat's delayed, so you're not going to get
that. Is a very good
be
point.
Too late.
Well, regardless, I'm going to wait a little bit before I pick the second guy in the first round. I'm going to be fair to everybody in the chat. So here we go. We're going to take, my goodness, Kayvon Thibodeau number 1. And here we go. We're going to wait. I'm waiting for this thing to get to the second pick. But this is interesting. Honestly, we're going to try this. We're
No.
gonna,
You know what I wish
we're
we had
gonna
a live-
experiment
we had
right
like
now.
a live
I wish it was
thing.
on screen.
Yeah, that'd
I
be great.
apologize to everybody.
share this.
But to make a long story short, guys, here is the second available player in the first round. You have Darian Kennard. David Ojabo is available. Mijaya Sanders, the secondary player. But Jahan Dotson is on the board. I'm going to go with a wide receiver. Give me Jahan Dotson. That's what we're going to do with the second pick in the first round. I'm going to go wide receiver. We need one in Detroit, and we'll see what happens in the second round. We're going to wait and see. Draft log, we're now available. Let's see. With the second round pick, Nakobe Dean is still available. So I'm going to take him. I'm going to take the Georgia linebacker.
Yep.
He's available. My draft board's looking good. So Kennedy, type it in the chat right now. We have Kayvon Thibodeau, Jahan Dotson, and now Nakobe Dean.
That's
a hell of a first.
that's
a hell of a draft.
Hell of a first.
It's a hell of a
They
draft,
all
guys.
have too difficult of names for me to spell, so I'm not going to write it in the chat because I would slaughter spelling all of that.
What is it?
Those names are all too hard for me to spell.
Oh, come on, Kennedy.
Why? I'm stupid.
All right. Well, we're in the third round, guys, and I'll give you the players that are available. Kenneth Walker is on the board, but you don't need a running back in Detroit. Tyke Smith is available, safety. There's Brendan Joseph, another safety available. A lot of secondary players. Logan Hall, Brenton Cox Jr., edge rushers available. A lot of offensive linemen. Here, I'm not seeing anything that's kind of blowing my mind. I'm going to look for a quarterback here. I'm going to look for a quarterback here in the third round. I don't see
Doug
anything.
just said Jack Cohn. Let's
What is
go. He said, Doug said Jack Cohn. That's Notre Dame's quarterback.
All right, well, we're going to look at quarterbacks. And right now, there's Spencer Rattler, JT Daniels. All right, so Carson Strong is off the board. So
Interesting.
Right now, what I need to do is I need to look for a secondary player. And
Jordan Battle.
Ooh, no, he's gone. We're in the third round.
Oh, yeah,
dude.
third round.
What are you
Okay,
doing?
never mind. What are you doing? I can't see the screen. I can't see the screen. I'm just...
Hear me out. Hear me out. I'm going to take Jermaine Waller, cornerback out of Auburn. Or, excuse me, Virginia. So we're 3 rounds in. I'm probably going to take a quarterback with the 4th round pick, but that is a hell of a first 3.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Thibodeau, Bean, and Dotson. I couldn't be any happier if that's what Detroit walked away with in March. Could you? Honestly, anybody in the chat. Is everybody on the same page for this? I think that's a hell of a first 3 picks.
Yeah.
You get Bean, Dotson, and Thibodeau?
Those are 3 starters.
You're walking
day
away
one.
with 3 starters next year. That's a hell of a haul.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'm taking it. Next question, Kennedy. What do we got?
We had one. Hang on. Now I need to scroll because it keeps moving.
We got 3 minutes, so.
Someone asked who is hands down the best basketball head coach, college or pros, in the great state of Michigan? I like this question. I think it's hard.
Tom Izzo.
Yeah, Tom Izzo. In terms of
He's
like.
got cachet. Well,
yeah,
why?
exactly.
Oh, okay.
That's not fair.
Okay.
That's not a fair question to Juwan Howard because he's doing a hell of a job.
Yeah.
But anyways,
This is
what else
true.
we got? Sign was not there, by the way, Funky. I looked. He wasn't. Josh Jobe was available in the 4th round. That's an interesting one. But if Drake London is available with your second pick in the 1st round, you take him. But I don't think he falls all the way to mid-20s. So I'm taking Dotson. And again, if you can get Bean and then Dotson, my goodness, what a draft. Thibodeau, Bean, Dotson. Brad Holmes, open up your ears, man. Hear me out. That's a hell of a haul. You do that, you've got 3 key starters on the Detroit Lions already, and we haven't even gotten to the 3rd round of the NFL draft or free agency. I'm in love. My goodness, David Ojabo. You guys want to hear a fun fact? I did a mock draft, I want to say 4 weeks ago, and I hauled David Ojabo in the 5th round. Now he's not going anywhere later than 20 in the 1st round.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. Good for him. So happy for that kid. That's my draft. That's my draft. I could make an argument you couldn't get a better 3 players in any other scenario. You couldn't get a better 3 players than what I just got you, Detroit. Anybody?
Yeah.
Suggestions in the chat? I'll take them. Do we have any more questions, or
We
we
have one more. It's directed at Jeff.
All right, go for it.
Jeff, is it true that you sleep with a nightlight on?
It's very true.
Is
I get
it?
scared at night. Yeah, you know what? No,
Really?
I'm joking. No, I'm joking.
Oh.
Adam, hey, listen, I'm scared. I'm scared Adam's gonna come in and just strangle me sometimes
Yeah.
with how we argue. So yeah, I sleep with a little nightlight on. No, I'm joking. I do sleep with a fan though. I sleep
me
with a
too.
big old fan,
Gotta.
big old industrial fan. Now I got my girlfriend hooked on it. Same thing, big old industrial fan. And you know what I do? I sleep with that proudly. But nightlight, no nightlight for me. Sorry about that.
All right, you guys. Well, that's all we have time for today. We will talk Lions, college football, all of everything that you need to know going into the weekend tomorrow. Big D Energy coming up next. Squad Deep with the Joik, Neil Rule, and D-Mac. You guys know the drill. This has been the Morning Woodward Show right here on Woodward Sports.